Have you ever wondered what the difference between the North Pole and the South Pole is? Well, we're about to embark on a fascinating journey to discover just that. Situated at the extreme ends of our planet, the North and South Poles are fascinating realms of ice and snow. Though they may seem identical in their frosty appearance, they are, in fact, worlds apart. You may be surprised to learn that these polar regions differ in more ways than you might imagine. From contrasting climates to unique wildlife and varied human activity, the North and South Poles are truly polar opposites. We'll delve into these differences, uncovering the distinct characteristics that set them apart. Imagine a world where the sun shines continuously for half the year, or where the lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth was registered. Intriguing, isn't it? Stay tuned as we journey from the top of the world to the bottom, exploring the intriguing differences between the North and South Pole. It is no secret that both poles are cold, but did you know they are cold in different ways? Hold your sleds because we're about to slide into the world of frigid climates. The North Pole, sitting atop the globe, is completely surrounded by water. In contrast, the South Pole, located at the base of our planet, is covered by a thick layer of ice and is part of the Antarctic landmass. Now, how does this geographical difference affect the climate? Well, it's all about heat absorption. Water has a higher heat capacity than land, meaning it can absorb more heat without a significant change in temperature. This is why the North Pole, despite its cold reputation, is generally warmer than the South Pole. The surrounding Arctic Ocean absorbs heat from the sun during summer, preventing temperatures from plummeting to the extremes seen in Antarctica. This difference also impacts ice formation. At the North Pole, the sea ice is relatively thin and seasonally variable, growing and shrinking with the changing seasons. On the other hand, the ice over the South Pole, being on land, is thicker and more permanent, with some places boasting ice sheets over 2 miles thick. And let's not forget about weather patterns. The North Pole experiences milder, albeit more unstable weather due to the influence of the ocean. The South Pole, however, is home to some of the harshest weather on Earth, with blistering winds and bone-chilling temperatures. So, while you'll need to bundle up for either pole, you'll face distinct weather challenges at each. From polar bears to penguins, the poles are home to some of the most unique wildlife on the planet. Let's take a frosty journey to the North Pole first, where the undisputed king of the Arctic, the polar bear, reigns supreme. These majestic creatures are perfectly adapted to the frigid conditions, with their thick, insulating fur and layer of blubber that helps them retain heat. But it's not just polar bears that call the North home. The Arctic fox, with its fluffy white coat, and the walrus, with its long, tusky features, are just a couple of the other remarkable species that have made a living in this icy wilderness. Now, let's traverse to the South Pole, a place that's uniquely the realm of the penguins. Whether it's the emperor penguins huddled together to brave the Antarctic winter, or the Adelie penguins diving into the icy waters for a meal, these birds have made the most of their frosty habitat. Seals, too, are a common sight in the Antarctic. From the crab-eater seals lounging on ice floes to the leopard seals patrolling the waters. These diverse species and many others have each found their niche in these extreme environments, having evolved unique adaptations to survive the cold, the wind, and the scarcity of food. So whether you're a fan of polar bears or penguins, you'll need to choose your pole carefully. While humans don't naturally inhabit either pole, our presence has been felt in different ways. Let's take a trip to the bottom of the world first, shall we? Antarctica, the South Pole, is a vast, icy desert with no permanent human residence. However, it is home to numerous research stations from various countries where scientists brave the chilling temperatures to study everything from climate change to penguins. Now, let's head north. Unlike the South Pole, the Arctic, the North Pole, is not a landmass but a frozen ocean surrounded by countries like Canada, Russia, and Greenland. Here, indigenous peoples such as the Inuit have made the harsh, frigid landscape their home for thousands of years, adeptly surviving in one of the world's most unforgiving environments. But it's not just about where humans live or work, it's also about the impact we have. Climate change, driven largely by human activities, is transforming both poles. In the Arctic, warmer temperatures are melting sea ice, threatening wildlife and altering the indigenous way of life. In Antarctica, melting ice could lead to rising sea levels globally, posing a threat to coastal cities around the world. So, while humans may visit both poles, our impacts are distinctly different. It's a sobering reminder that even in the most remote corners of the Earth, the footprint of humanity is never too far away. So, there you have it. The North and South Poles may be at opposite ends of the Earth, but they're worlds apart in many ways. Our journey has taken us through the icy landscapes of both poles, the North and the South, and we've discovered that they're as different as night and day. We've learned about their distinct climates. The North Pole, sitting in the middle of a sea, experiences a milder climate and less extreme variations in temperature compared to the South Pole, which sits on a high, wind-swept plateau in Antarctica. We've also explored the unique wildlife that calls these extreme environments home, from the charismatic polar bears of the North to the diverse penguin species of the South. These animals have adapted to thrive in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. And let's not forget the influence of human activity. The North Pole, with its accessible sea routes and abundant resources, has seen more human impact than the relatively untouched South Pole, where the Antarctic Treaty safeguards its pristine condition. These regions are not just fascinating to learn about, they're also crucial to our planet's health. Their preservation is essential in maintaining global climate balance and protecting the unique species that reside there. Remember, whether you're headed to the North Pole or the South, you're in for a uniquely chilly adventure. Thanks for joining us on this polar expedition.